Anyway, back to Steve Letho and Grumpy Doper destroy Steve Leto's commenter section. Is that what were you saying about you watched the show twice after I encouraged you to, and then you said something about trade secrets?
Yeah, that's the builder's argument was there were trade secrets in the
That's
plan,
one.
which
That
does
was
not
one.
make sense. I mean,
What doesn't make sense about that? And let's just be clear, everybody in Grumpy and Purple Jimmy land is that we're both builders. We're both contractors. We've had
we spent
large
years in the
we've had
trade.
we've had new construction, we've had remodels, we've had every phase of construction pretty much except for like heater AC, right? We
Yeah.
never put in a sprinkler system, but we put in water piping system, not much different.
Actually, I laid out the sprinkling system for
Doesn't count.
big places.
That doesn't
I mean,
count.
I didn't, glue the things together, but it's, gluing pipe is gluing pipe.
Okay. Yes, yes, it is. So there you go. And so we're very experienced. So now you can move on and tell me that trade secrets. And immediately, one of the arguments that I think that Steve made was that these guys were claiming they had come up with guaranteed non-squeak floors. Well, Jim, that's not
you
a
mean, huh? You
even
mean
if
like
you
screw and glue? Whoa.
Yeah, I knew you would say that. I was mocking those people that said that to Karen, and I go, "We just add some glue and a couple more
Oh,
screws."
this PL400 stuff, man,
that-
it's amazing.
That is the way you do it. And if you put down your PL400 and you let it set and you don't walk on it, and you put plenty of screws, if you find that you've got a void later and you screw it down hard, that's the easy way to do it. You don't really do that after tile or anything, right? You don't really do that after a finished floor, but there's all kinds in the world of products out there that are non-squeak and anti-squeak. And maybe these contractors, segue just for a second. Remember the Weiss company that Hal Weiss came up with his own tub and would only in those spec buildings install the Hal Weiss tub?
Yeah.
Right. You remember that. I had to go to like Monterey and pick up the fucking tub for a place. He paid me all day to drive all the way to Monterey, come all the way back with this special tub.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is it doesn't need to make sense to you that somebody has come up with a system that they consider a foolproof, and they'll even guarantee it, right? You pay the builder an extra 10 grand to guarantee your floors won't squeak. It doesn't matter if you think that's stupid, or I think that we both think that's stupid. If he's come up with some method and he's specified it on his plans, that is a trade secret.
I guess, but
what do you mean you guess?
Sounds,
you know that
it just counts. It sounds,
All right, let me make it a little more believable for you and branch it off. What we're talking about is an engineering spec question. Somebody solves a complicated moment frame, which is metal frame shit. Look it up yourself, people. A moment frame, and they come up with a great weld, a transfer of load, and it's a bare minimal, but an engineer will sign off on it, and he's the one that did all the calcs and then put in all the work on the drawing and the calcs. It's on those plans. Now, if I'm somebody else that wants a project and doesn't want to pay the engineer for that detail, well, why can't I just go in and grab somebody else's plans and steal their calc detail, Jim?
Because when you submit your plans to the county or the city or whatever, you submit the floor plan and the engineering plan, and the engineering stuff that you submit to them has like it's like what do you call it? The guy with the seal,
I think that's correct. I think that's correct, and it's possible.
I know it is.
That it's what?
I know it is because I've taken those plans in.
I was just being nice. Okay. So yes, that is correct.
Yes.
So I was saying, I think that's correct, except what I wanted to say was that I'm not so sure that every building department and every homeowner who has acquired a set of plans with engineer stamped calc drawings on it, I'm not sure that the city, once they saw that spec and decided not to question it, seeing that it came from an engineering firm, or it just looking right to them because it's not their liability, that somebody could slide past engineering specs onto their own project if they were builder homeowner. And you might think, you might actually know that that's not possible, but I'm pretty sure that's possible because,
Yeah, it
things
depends.
slide
We,
by.
we've always dealt with finicky building departments though, where they
And
were,
not so. Some
huh?
of the building departments in our area were lax and some of them were strict. And then
Yeah,
some of them
but,
flopped
but,
over.
but they were only lax compared to the really hardcore ones. They're,
Sure, sure. Well,
they're,
here's the example.
but
Say,
then, but we're also in California in earthquake area, so our
so
lax
say,
was a lot better than like South Dakota's, what do you call it, their
building
hardest.
department, engineering
Yeah,
specs. So say I own a property in California and a property in South Dakota. You see where this
yeah,
is going?
yeah, because we talked about
Right.
this. Yes.
So it's intellectual property. It's something
Yeah.
somebody put a lot of work into. And uh, the idea that if they do copyright it, I mean, they don't even have to apply for a copyright because as Steve Letho explained today in another one of his videos, as soon as you put something on paper, it's your intellectual material. To sue people for copyright infringement, it's suggested that you apply for copyright status so that you can legally pursue it on a better footing. But it's still intellectual property. And you and I've opened dozens of plans, dozens of sets of plans. And another thing about copyright and another thing about style is presentation on plans. I've opened up a set of plans and then just slapped my forehead going, oh, Christ, this is going to take me forever to get through. This is so hard. How come the engineering is over by this? And how come the plumbing is over here? Wouldn't it be so much easier if they organized this? So presentation of plans, even though it's not rocket science, if I have access to your set of plans and I'm at an engineering or an architectural firm and I go, whoa, that's a really nice set of plans. Let's set a memo out to everybody in the firm that we're going to take this idea over here that I stole from these guys, or we're going to incorporate it into all our sets of plans. Is that not nothing?
Yeah, I don't know. That's because, I mean, sure, you could look at the plans, but you and I could look at the built project and look at and see
That's
what
a
they
different
did.
question. And I'd like to, that's a different question. And I'd really like to ream some serious asshole on that in just a second. But
Yeah,
that's not what we're talking about. Let's see what other point did I make? The intellectual property, the trade secrets, the engineering details that somebody put a lot of work in, and they're staking their reputation on this set of plans over here. And you just take that detail and go to South Dakota and use it. And somebody goes, oh yeah, that's beautiful work. We'll accept that. And that's not your engineering detail. Those aren't your weld. That's not your weld schedule.
yeah. But also, I mean, how many times when we've got in like a intricate set of plans, and you got the architectural plans and the engineering plans, and then when you sit down and get ready to start building stuff, you start to see that they don't mesh. That you look at the engineering plans, like, well, there's like a 18-inch glue lam here, but if you put an 18-inch glue mat lam here in this architectural plan, well, it's going to stick up in the floor up above, and then you got to go back and forth and find out all those details that don't work, and then you got to go back to the engineer and
You're arguing against the commenters now. I mean, you were on the commenters
I
side a
don't know.
second ago.
I'm not taking a side. I'm just
I'm just telling
talking.
you a minute ago, your argument sounded like the commenters section about intellectual property. Hey, it's that guy's house. And he didn't contract to build that house. He bought that house already finished. And let's just segue a second and say, if you really want the plans to the house you're buying, negotiate it at sale. Negotiate it at sale.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what was the point you just made? Oh, you were arguing on the commenter side as far as intellectual property, but now you're saying that what the commenters, one of the big things that they said is that the reason that they're not showing the plans is they're hiding all the screw ups. I never was on a project where everything meshed together,
No.
where ceiling didn't cut me here, or something was in the wrong spot,
Yeah.
or I didn't have enough clearance at a certain section. Every set of plans takes revisions, and some of those
Oh, yeah.
revisions you send back to the architect because you need those to get stamped and approved by the planning commission.
Mhm.
Engineering details changes, you absolutely need those because those are
Yeah.
what they'll be looking at the closest. But as for
Well, because
moving
also the engineering details, I mean, from our end, building stuff, if something goes, south down the road, we don't want them to come back to us and say, well, why did you do different, unless you got something stamped from the engineer,
right, but
on a change.
I'll still move non-load bearing walls that are
Well,
partitions
yeah,
that don't give a damn. And the comment section's
yeah.
throwing out all kinds of stuff like you're hiding the secret wall or something like that, or you put it over here. Plus, they're conflating. Uh, they're trying to hide
Hey,
where all.
you walk into a house. How long would it take you personally to say, okay, that's a load bearing wall, that one's
We're not
not?
there yet. We're not there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, you keep derailing me on that one, and that's a
Sorry,
good
man.
one. That's a good one all by itself. But and
See, but
I think
here's the problem with you and I talking about building, is because we always butt heads while we were building together, but
you're just not listening.
it was because we processed things different. We were I don't know how many times did you and I argue about some detail, and after arguing about it for an hour and a half, out realizing, oh wait, we're saying the same thing.
And mostly it was because I was talking from the left wall to the right wall, and you were talking from the right wall to the
Yeah,
left wall.
it's all perception.
How do you come up with 7 feet? That's not 7 feet. It's 13 feet. What the? Oh.
Turn the tape around. Ooh, what do you know?
Let me finish about the commenters and you not
Okay.
taking their side.
Go ahead.
About there's always changes on the plans. And what I'm saying is that also prevalent in the comment section was they're hiding the pipes and wires. Dudes, when you get that set of plans, there is no locations for pipes. There is no locations for wires. Jimmy just told you earlier in this video that he drew up the fire sprinkler plan himself to make it meet code and also access through his framing lumber so that the plumber didn't like rip through it and cause a serious problem, which they absolutely will. Plumbers are the worst.
Actually, if you look on TikTok, there's all kinds of short little TikToks of, where you can see. We can name some plumbers probably, but that looks like their work.
Every plumber is what I'd say if you let them do it, and usually I just do their drilling and their cutting and their pathways for them because I just, and what
otherwise you'll come back in an hour and they will have their chainsaw out. And that is never a good thing.
Just last time I worked with the last contractor, the plumbing contractor that you knew, his guys were in on my job, and I went over with a 2.5-inch hole saw for the vent, drain vent, and I drilled it through the hole right next to the access. And I came back an hour later, and he had drilled a 2.5-inch hole next to my 2.5-inch hole. And I thought, obviously, I didn't communicate this very well. I needed to say, this is the bay I want it in. I need it in here.
Yep.
That's why there's a hole up in the plate and there's a hole down to the next level.
Huh.
But he didn't get that. And maybe he was just being a douchebag because I was being a douchebag as being controlling, being the builder. I want this
you want to put those kind of qualifiers in there. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, now we are, Jimmy, you've got to be so happy because now we're all the way to what you're talking about. Twice when you
now I don't remember, so
I don't remember either. What was that? Play that back.
I don't know. Yeah, but rewind. I don't know.
Well, we ran through intellectual property. We ran through trade secrets, engineering details, solutions, and presentation.
Trade secrets are not going to be on plans. I mean, if they're
those kind of flashing at windows. They can. You can.
Anybody that knows what they're doing should already know those trade secrets.
Anderson windows and Milgard windows have their own pan flashing systems.
Yeah.
And they're not like interchangeable. But when they're put on the plans, it's still their trademark system.
Yeah, but you have to buy it from Anderson. I mean, it's not, they build it, or they sell a flashing kit that goes with this door or this window. It's not like you're making the kit, because if you do, then that voids the warranty anyway.
Yeah, but you can void your warranties. But when they're on the red set, which is the Stamp City set, and it says you will do this detail, and the inspector wants you to do that detail, then you have to do that detail.
Yeah.
And you can't void the warranty. The city enforces that procedure.
Yeah.
So anyway, and this whole story too is predicated on a big question mark. There's this big question mark that never gets answered, and that's, why didn't you get a set of plans from the builder's architect?
Yeah.
And we suspect, what do you suspect?
I can't remember. What was it?
I suspect that they said, okay, that's fine. We'll give you the layout and the load specs and tell you where everything is, and we'll charge you $5,000. And somebody didn't want to pay $5,000 for a set of plans that wasn't theirs.
Mhm.
It was the builder's plan or the previous owner who contracted the architect. It's their plans. It's not your plans. And here's another example. Say I buy a Tesla. By your reasoning, don't I get to say, hey, Tesla, give me the weld specs for the undercarriage, and hey, where's the schematics? What's wrong with you? It's my car. Is that wrong logic?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, seriously, why would you want the welding specs for Tesla? I mean, I'm just saying it.
No, I'm just saying nobody asks for the technical details on stuff that they already own. And if it's your house, I remember what your point was. Your point was, if you're a builder, which in the comment section, there was a whole lot of them. I'm a 10-year builder. I'm a 20-year builder, but I can't figure out where the load bearing wall is. And I want to talk about secret plans and crooked inspectors. Doesn't sound like qualified builders. Maybe they're from South Dakota.
Actually, especially with residential stuff, you know, yeah, I can look at a house from outside before I even gone in, and I can tell you where, I'm going to tell you where those load bearing walls will be within, you know, a foot inside.